Hi, good morning everyone. Let's get started with the next topic in this particular training session, which is the import in the target system. So what we have done so far is we have exported the target system, we have transferred the file, we have prepared the target system. Now the final step is the importing in the target system, and after that it's post processing. So let's get started with the import in the target system. Okay, so basically we have a ABAP plus Java system, and we just go to the installation master and go to this folder called containing SAP INST and run this SAP INST. And once we run this SAP INST, we will get to this particular option where we have ERP system, and under that we can go to the software lifecycle options. Under software lifecycle option we have system copy, and under system copy let's get into our database that we are in is the Oracle system. Go to the target system installation, that is based on AS ABAP plus Java. It's being a central system, so we just need to install everything here. Okay, so let's get started. So now basically if you have already run this tool, it will ask for do you want to run with a new option or continue with the old option. Okay, so if you are running for a subsequent time, you just need to make sure that you select the option continue with old option, otherwise all your previous setting will be gone. But if you are running for the first time, just make sure that you run it as a new option so that you can specify the new parameters. Okay, now we need to select a custom because we will be specifying custom values during the import process. Okay, so here in the next step we are selecting the Java component, which is we have the Java software, and we are providing that information where the Java DVD is. Okay, so we have provided that information, and after that it's asking for the JDK location. We need to provide the location where we have downloaded the JDK. Okay, just make sure that you have downloaded JDK and you have parameters defined for Java home. Okay, then you have system IDs, basically what is the SAP system ID, which drive it is, and whether it is a Unicode system or not. It's recommended to go for a Unicode system. And on the next screen it asks for do you want to set the FQDN for the SAP system. Go for it and define the domain name for this particular system. Okay, it is asking for the master password, so all the users that we gets created automatically will have this password unless we specifically explicitly define it. So just take a note of this master password. Okay, now in this particular location it is asking for do you want to install this with the domain of current user, with the local installation, or with different domain you want to install. So just go with the necessary option. Okay, now here in this case, because we have selected domain account, so it's asking for domain / Cdadium and domain / service user, which is SAP service sid user. Okay, now here you can see that there are two options for this. We can go for standard system copy migration method, or we can go for homogeneous system copy migration method. As we are doing a heterogeneous OSDB migration, we have to go for only standard system copy migration method. Here you have an option to start the migration monitor manually so that you have a good control on the export import process. But in our case we just want to go with the existing process which is used internally by the SAP INST tool. Okay, SAP INST tool in newer version internally starts the migration monitor, but you don't have a control on it. Okay, now here we can go for this system ID where you have defined the SAP INST parameter. Okay, then you can go for the migration export. Here you have the migration export. Basically you are creating the migration export in this particular folder. Okay, so you have defined that particular location. Okay, then let's go to the next tab where you are defining basically this screen. It is asking for, because you already have a database, it asks for do you want to drop the database and recreate it, or if you want to create multiple component you can go for mcod. Okay, but in our case we don't want to go for mcod. Let's drop it and it will be automatically created during this import process. Okay, we need to define the instance memory parameter here, that is what is the memory that we want to go for. Okay, so total memory, and basically total memory is showing the system memory. Then we have the DB server version, what is the version that we are going for, and in the next screen it is showing that what is going to be the ABAP schema and the Java schema passwords, what is going to be the name of the ABAP schema and Java schema. Okay, so just make sure that you specify them. And now in this next screen you need to specify the table space location, that is which location what table space is present. Okay, then about the redo log archives, basically you have two redo logs, orig log A and B and mirror log A and B. Same thing goes for SAP archives, then SAP trace, SAP reorg, and here you have specified the max data file size. So this is the max size of the database. We would like to go for the advanced DB configuration, so just select that particular option. Okay, now here in the next screen we are providing the Oracle passwords for sys and sys system. Okay, then about the listener, so here basically we are telling that the listener is running at this particular location. This is the port used for listener, and keep the listener and tnsnames.org file. Okay, in the advanced configuration we are providing information. Basically we want to review the configuration of each of these parameters, so let's get into the details of all of them. So basically the distribution of database directories, here you can see that different drives is having this as the file size. Okay, then you have the database drive distribution is listed here. Okay, in the next screen you can see that create database parameter, that is what is going to be the maximum log file size, character set, max instances, log history, max data file, and here max number of redo log files and size of the redo log file. Okay, then here you are specifying the database parameters, basically the table space information, that which table space, how many of them, what is the size of them. Okay, then finally here in this screen you are providing the information about things like control files, which are going to be the control files. Okay, so table extension, make sure that auto extend is on. Okay, then you have max extent. Okay, compression, basically we have gone for compression, so it's up to us, do we want to go for OLTP compression or not. Okay, then these are the database export parameters. It's basically asking for code page, the number of parallel jobs, migration key. Do we want to go for parallel export import? We want to define the package load order advanced configuration. Okay, here we are specifying the secure store for Java. Okay, now create statistics. This is extremely important because this controls the speed as well. So just make sure that you select this option, even though it takes time in the start, but it gives the result towards or during the import. So just make sure that you create database statistics for both ABAP and Java. Okay, so basically it is detecting the instance, detecting the system names. Okay, so it has detected the system name and we are specifying the username password for it. Okay, SDM password, and it's showing so many parameters because we just want to make sure that it's having all the advanced parameters correct. Okay, so we have defined OSDB migration for ABAP Java. These are the Java related files which are getting extracted. So basically these are the things that we have defined. Okay, we have generated the Solman key as well, so we'll see the process of generating the Solman key also. Okay, now when you click on execute, you can see that these are the different components which are there part of import process. Okay, so just make sure that you take care of them, and you need to change the R3 load files, basically the R3 R3 files, so just make sure that you change them, and if you have modified the parameters for buffer and all, you may need to recreate them, because during the import phase, after the database creation phase, they will be changed. So just make sure that we reset those parameters. Okay, so that is pretty much on that part, that is how to do an export import. And after the export is done, we just need to make sure that we test it, we validate whether kernel version is correct, OS version is correct, SAP version is correct, we have the updated versions, and after that we need to get started for the post activities. So for the post activities, just make sure that you go through the post activity checklist. Okay, that's all pretty much I wanted to cover in this particular training session. Thank you for joining and have a nice day. Bye bye.